Hey guys, I'm working on a little project this afternoon. I do not think I have shown you my little Hosta seedlings. I purchased a seed mix from eBay and it was supposed to be a mix of different types of seeds from the seller's Hostas. A lot of them look very similar to me. But that's okay. I know that gathering seed, you get what you get. It's whatever nature puts together. So there were lots of different hostas in this person's bed, and they gathered seeds and sent them off. And I'm always happy when seeds grow when you get them off of eBay. But let me show you what they look like. They are in sopping wet, absolutely sopping wet soil. I don't even know what type of soil I used. It just stays wet, but something has been digging in it and unearthing these little babies. But I thought we would go ahead and repot them. So we're gonna pot them up. Here's a little tiny one, and it has a nice little root. Doesn't really have a tuber yet, because hostas do form tubers as mature plants. But I think what I'm gonna do is take all of them out, and then we'll replant them pretty quickly. You don't want the roots exposed to air. Now, this is really how I would like to take it out, with a clump of soil just like that. And this one was dug up by a squirrel or whatever was digging in here. But I'm gonna try to get most of them up with a bit of soil, and then we'll replant them in a pot this size, and we'll let them overwinter in there. I'll probably put them up in the polytunnel, and just have to remember to water them from time to time. Even though they're dormant, I wouldn't want them to get completely dry. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this very wet soil with this soil that I had my petunias in, and it's very light, a very light mix. Probably had peat moss in it or cocoa coir, but I actually had trouble keeping that watered, so that should offer this more drainage. And the last thing you want, guys, is your baby plant sitting in soaking wet conditions all winter when it's cold. Look, you can see the roots really develop quite well on lots of these. This is a good size hosta. We'll see if they grow up and show any types of variations. They're probably hybrids of whatever was in the garden that the seed came from. So I'm just gonna get these all unloaded out. There we go. We're gonna have lots of hostas to plant next year. So I think what I'm gonna do is take this very wet soil and combine it with this. I'm gonna give it a mix. And then I will be ready to plant these up in a much better draining mix. And I reuse my old soil, guys. I mix my soils together. I mix old soil with new soil. I add compost in. There's lots of ways to reinvigorate it. But at this time of the year, you actually don't want to be using a fertilizer-laden soil, because these are going to go dormant and you don't want them to start growing right before it's time for it to freeze. And I love to plant things from seeds. I love to take cuttings. By spring, I like for my polytunnel to look like a nursery, so I can just go plant shopping in my own polytunnel. Okay, this is feeling like a much less soupy mix, a much healthier mix for young plants. It's all mixed in. All right, so let's get our first plant in. I'm gonna try using up the green ones first. This is a lot of soil around the roots, so I feel like this is gonna give it a good start. And it can live in here until it's mature enough to go into the garden. Just making a very big hole, putting the roots down in and tucking that soil in. And we can water those in. And I'll probably save the very best ones. I'm excited to see how these grow in the spring. Right now with the weather turning chillier, I don't expect to see any growth. In fact, I expect all of the leaves to die back. And there we go, guys. It's got its own home now. That is terrific. All set for the winter. We'll see if there's any variety at all. Of course, in the picture, there was some variegated ones. So we'll see if any of these put out some variegated leaves next year. But isn't it a thrill, guys? It's kind of a roll of the dice to see what you get from a seed, because like I said, they're open pollinated and they might have crossed with other varieties. And that's perfectly okay. In fact, you know, that's how new varieties are made. I like to kind of tap it so the soil settles. And I'm going to continue to do the rest of them, and I'll show you what I ended up. I think I'm going to save the very best cream of the crop. And a couple of the small ones, maybe I'll put in as multiples. And here are the babies all potted up. So lots of the pots do have multiples, but this is a very nice start to my polytunnel nursery that I can go shopping in next spring. So we'll see if any of them end up looking different. There was one that had longer, narrower leaves right here, and we'll see if that's any different from the others. But I guess time will tell, guys. So I hope you're having fun in your gardens, and I'll see you next time.